umbrella term that provides opportunities that allow high school students to earn college credit while satisfying high school requirements. So there are basically three ways students can do this: through dual enrollment classes, concurrent enrollment, and through articulated credit. Dual enrollment courses are those courses that are taught by full-time or part-time GBC faculty members like myself. These courses are offered to Elko High School students generally when they are juniors and seniors. There are some exceptions to that rule. And with Elko High School, we are offering in-person dual credit courses during the first period of the day for juniors and seniors. This year, we've offered English 101, English 102, History 101, and History 102. As we advance with the newly formed Dual Credit Academy, we will be adding additional courses. The second option to earn college credit while your student is in high school is through concurrent enrollment classes. Now, concurrent enrollment is when a high school teacher who is qualified to teach college level courses teaches that course in the high school classroom. All right? And at Elko High School, we currently have 3 different concurrent enrollment courses this year: a theater course, a chemistry course, and environmental science. So there are lots of options. The third way to earn college credit is through articulated credit. And your 8th grader may have brought home a packet of information that looks like this. Now, with this brochure, it's for career and technical education. And those fields include nursing, teaching, welding, construction, a variety of different fields. And if your child chooses to go into one of these pathways, they can eventually take exams, statewide exams through the high school and potentially earn college credit, and that's called articulated credit. There are a few steps involved there, but the articulated credit is completely free to your students. Dual enrollment courses are this year $85 per credit. Next year, that fee is going to increase to $87.50. There are options for those students that qualify for free and reduced lunches, though, and that discount is about $30 less than that initial figure I quoted. Concurrent enrollment classes are a flat fee of $75. So these options are a great deal. Now, there are many strengths regarding dual credit classes. First and foremost, your student can earn college credit while they're in high school. These courses are demonstrated to increase college readiness. There's research out there that confirms this. It also provides a competitive edge in college admissions. College admissions departments look for students that take on challenges and embrace hard academic courses. And if your student even has 1 or 2 dual credit classes on their transcript, it will help your student get into those competitive colleges. And then finally, of course, the cost savings and time savings. So if your student completes a 2-year degree at GBC, they could likely go to a university and finish in 2 years. So they could get into the workforce or whatever they decide to do after that. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I know many of you, through certain activities with the schools, my email address is up here, as well as our general dual credit email address. Please let me know if you have any questions. Email me and I'll be happy to help.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Cassie Talbot. I'm a counselor here at Elko High School. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for coming tonight. Looks like we have a good turnout. We're always happy to see you here. And I'd like to thank Carrie for coming and dropping by from GBC to show us those wonderful opportunities we have for our students. It just keeps growing and it's awesome. So I'd like to ask you, I can barely see you out there, but I'd like to ask you to raise your hand if you have had a child go through high school yet, or you have a child in high school yet. Okay, there's a few of you here. And how many of you have never had a student go through high school yet? Okay, so there's quite a bit of you. So as you look around and when you come to these events, I think it's important to make those connections with other parents. Some of you may already know each other, make new connections. You really do help each other. And we work as a team with you here at Elko High School. So I have my counseling staff here, our administrators, the teachers, the help staff. We're all here to work as a team to make sure that your students get the best support and they have the best success while they're here at Elko High School. So first of all, too, what I'll do is I'm going to introduce who our administration is, just so you can put a face with a name. So Mr. Foss is the captain of our ship. He is our principal. And then we have 3 assistant principals. Mr. Bryson, who's in charge of the 9th graders this year. Mr. Lobato, sophomores, and Mrs. Williams is over juniors and seniors this year, and she's here tonight. She talked earlier, and she's going to be talking a little bit about attendance later. And then counselors, our alphabet is divided by, or our caseloads are divided by alphabet. So I have students A through DI. Miss Bigham, who is not able to be with us tonight, her alphabet is DO through K. Miss Madsen is L through RE, and Mr. Oliver is RI through Z. Our responsibilities as counselors, we do a number of things, too much to list tonight, but we do support students in the areas of personal and social issues, academic issues, and post-secondary education and career education planning and exploration. Looking at the differences in that your child will experience coming to Elko High, the size of the school and the campus is spread out. So when I first started here, I moved down from Idaho, and this is my 5th year here. And I said in my interview, wow, this looks like a college campus because of all the different buildings. And it used to be, for those of you who didn't know, it used to be UNR many, many years ago. And so we do have a lot of different buildings. We have some new buildings. We have some historical buildings. And the kids get some fresh air and some exercise moving between classes. The classes, or the size is going to seem big to your child, but it does get smaller as soon as they start to find their way around. They'll get tours on Monday, the 8th grade tours, and then during orientation, they will get to know where their classes are and who their teachers are before school starts. So it will get smaller. As far as grades go, super important that your child realizes that their grades are going to go on a transcript now. So that's a permanent record that they will be sending to colleges. They'll be using that GPA, to get into trade schools and also within the workforce. So it's important that they start off strong. If you know that they struggle in a subject, it would be very smart to start tutoring immediately. So we have before school, after school, and at lunch tutoring for math, English, and science. And then lunch is off campus, or they can go off campus. So students have 50 minutes. That should give them plenty of time to get back to class on time. We also have on-campus lunch that's served in our old gym. And as far as schedules go for next year, students all will have 7 periods that are an hour long, And school usually goes, this year it's 7:40 to 3:55. That may change by a couple minutes at the end of the day, but it shouldn't be that much different for next year. On Thursdays, they will have an advisory period that's like a homeroom, and that will be a block of time, so the schedule will be a little bit adjusted. The times will start and end at the same time, but lunch will be a little bit different time. And then I want to talk a little bit about activities and eligibility. It's super important that you get your child involved in something. I don't care what it is, but we've shown that when they have a connection with some activity, they tend to do better in school. It also makes them better prepared for the workplace, for college, for scholarships, etc. So that really should start the freshman year. We do have a list of clubs and sports that will be located in the catalog, at the very front of the catalog, that we offer. And as far as sports go, I was just told now physicals are going to be required every year. So some of you that have a child that's already going to school here, it's been every 2 years. It will be every year now. And as far as eligibility goes for activities that require that, freshmen, you're starting over with a clean slate, but at the 3rd week of the freshman year, they'll start doing grade checks, okay? And they cannot have any Fs, and they need to be at a 2.0 overall GPA. And then coaches and teachers will provide information when they meet with them about the activity that they're interested in. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Madsen. She's going to talk about graduation requirements.
Right. Good evening, everyone. So I'm Miss Madsen, and again, if your student has the last name of L through RE, then I am their counselor. So my slides are geared towards breaking down the types of classes that your child can take, the credits needed to graduate, and then diploma types that we offer. So if you look at this slide, I'm sure all of you guys are starting to notice sort of a theme with what kind of courses your child's going to take on an annual basis, because this is the educational plan and that kind of lays out each of the classes each year. But we're really only going to focus on the freshman year for right now. But if you look, the theme is this: they take 4 years of English. We recommend that they take 4 years of math. They can get by with 3, but it is recommended that they take 4. It changes the diploma type, and I'll get into that shortly. 3 credits of science, 1 credit of American history, 1 credit of world history, 1 credit of civics and economics, half credit of health, half credit of computer science, 2 of PE, and then 1 credit of humanities or career technical education, and then 6 elective credits. So all in all, 23 credits are needed to graduate. Each student will earn 7 credits after each year. So 7 times 4 is 28. That means it gives them some leeway in case they may fail a class or in case they want some work privs by the time they're a senior. We offer 2 diploma types. The standard is going to be the 23 credits with the 3 years of math and a GPA that's lower than 3.25. The advanced diploma is 24 credits. So this is where that additional math class is going to come into play. A kid needs to take an Algebra 2 class or higher and maintain a 3.25 GPA to secure that advanced diploma. The advanced diploma can secure them the Millennium Scholarship, which you guys will hear more about as you venture on this journey and your kid gets to their senior year. A couple of other things as well: diploma seals and certifications. If your kiddo takes like 4 sciences, right, which is not normally recommended, they can earn certain accolades or accreditations to add to their diploma boosters. If you look down at the bottom where it says diploma seals and certifications, one of them that's really popular is the biliteracy exam. So students can take a biliteracy exam in like Spanish or French. If they pass all those parts along with their English courses, they can actually get the seal of biliteracy and claim in resumes and so forth that they're biliterate, which is a great opportunity. There's also CTE, certifications that they can earn, and that actually can give them GPA boosters and earn them college credit, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. So there's a lot of different options, but all in all, 23 credits are needed to graduate, 24 if you're gunning for that advanced diploma. And then this is just kind of a table that kind of breaks it down. Off to the very right-hand side, you'll see college and career ready. That is another type of a diploma. We won't get into too many specifics there, but you guys can Google and look at the Nevada diploma requirements, and this will pop up. This is an advanced diploma with some additional things that are needed. ACT testing is a big one, and then even CTE certifications and testing is also another one. But there are definitely some diploma seals that can be earned at the end of the 4 years here. Okay, so some types of classes that we offer. CTE is huge. CTE CTE offers great work placement, and just experience and readiness. It can also offer college credits. Dual credit classes, which Carrie touched on, these are gaining popularity. Kids do have to have a GPA requirement normally. There's also associated costs and fees and books that you're required to purchase that go along with these classes. But they're a great option. If a kid is interested in other things, we have a lot of different options that you can probably access on GBC's website, right? And look those over. AP courses, these are college level type courses. At the end of these, you are given, a kid is given an exam that they pay for. If they score 3, 4s, or 5s on these exams, it can potentially earn them college credit depending on where they decide to go. So what types of scores are accepted and what tests or college credits are administered is really dependent upon the college. But colleges really like to see that kids have challenged themselves with these classes because they're pretty rigorous. And then obviously we offer honors classes. So honors English and honors biology, those are 2 popular options. All of those will increase the kid's GPA too. Even some of those CTE courses, if they get the certification and accrue that college credit. Some testing that your freshmen will be subjected to, I should say, is the pre-ACT. So this is just a practice ACT test. They have to take the ACT their junior year. So the pre-ACT is just a practice exam for them. It's not required, but it's definitely encouraged. The ASVAB they take as sophomores, so we won't get in too much about that, but that's actually a great career aptitude test. And then the PSAT is offered their junior year. One that they will have to take is the science assessment, but that's done in their science courses and it doesn't impact graduation. All right, I'm going to hand over the mic to Mr. Oliver, and he's going to finish out the presentation.
Hello, I'm Mr. Oliver, Alpha RI through Z, so unfortunately, if you're in that, you're stuck with me. I have some fun slides to talk about, but I first want to reiterate what my colleagues said. This is wonderful to have you guys all here tonight. I would say this is a record for our attendance for freshman orientation or freshman parent night, so congratulations, thank you for that. So it looks like my first slide is talking about some additional information, and the first thing on there is no changing teachers. So one thing with that, when we set up your schedules for your students and get them into those core classes, it's really tight. And we want them to become comfortable with their teachers work with them, really hard to support them where they're at. There is a potential if there is a situation, and that can go through administrative council, but we really like to keep students where they're at, and we really work hard at trying to place them accordingly. Another thing is we have teacher-led tutoring in our core subjects, which includes math, science, and English. So math this year was offered before school, during lunch, and after school. The science and English were offered during lunch or after school. There's ample opportunities for students that need help with any of their core subjects to get teacher-led tutoring if they take those opportunities. And those are all posted in their classrooms. During the year, if they need that, they can talk to their counselors. We'll help them access it. And a lot of our teachers go out of the way too to offer individual type tutoring. A lot of them are available during lunch and things. Students can talk to their teachers and see what they need. But what we do is we encourage a lot of communication with parents and teachers, and students definitely communicating needs to teachers and counselors. Some of the things we have at Elko High, we have safe schools. We have a social worker on staff, Mr. Larry Robb. We have CIS. We have support groups. We have experienced teachers, highly qualified teachers and staff. We have a school nurse, and we have a long-standing established traditions at Elko High. Okay, so my next slide is Infinite Campus. Most of you guys, I'm assuming are coming from the charter school or from Adobe Middle School. Chances are you've had access to Infinite Campus. One important thing this year is that you'll notice on the bottom, parents are required to update your information each year, and you can be beginning, so they're gonna open that up on April 14th. So a lot of times we find phone numbers, addresses that are incorrect. We need that information updated so that we can contact you if needed, and relay correspondence. An important thing is if you don't have that, I mean, if you have it on a computer, that's one thing, but they have a really cool app. You can download the app and you can just monitor your students all day long, attendance, any correspondence with administration, whatever that may be. If you have a question, because it's kind of a long code, if you haven't set that up yet, you can talk to your registrar at your school. So even your current school at Adobe, they could help you set that up. And if you, like I said, after April 14th, if you please update, that's going to be a requirement for registration. Any changes, we need to know that. But I would just recommend work with Adobe, get that set up. They're happy to help you. The registrar, that's what she does. But some things we use Infinite Campus for is obviously grade checks. Like I said, you can monitor live. Teachers put in assignments every week, so you can see exactly where your students are. If their grades are falling, I encourage as a counselor that you reach out to our teachers through email, and they're really good at corresponding and talking about the situation and ways to remedy where they're at. This all shows attendance. This is a way for them to access the schedule and for you to also see their schedule and any changes that may have occurred. And also assignments. That means assignments missed. And one thing you'll notice when you're clicking on those assignments, it will actually show if a teacher makes a comment like granted an extension or never turned in or late, you'll be able to see that there. So you'll have some information already on what's going on. So this is a new one kind of for me, and I've been familiarizing myself with this app. If you didn't know already, Elko County School District has an app. And I would encourage you, if you have your smartphones right now, to use that QR code and download the app. That app, I've found so far, it has access to wonderful mental health resources. It allows you access to not just Elko High's website, but all of your other student school websites. It provides updates, such as if there was a school closure due to snow, it's going to give you an immediate update. Anything pertaining to your student's school and functioning. Just the whereabouts and accessing calendars, accessing anything in the district. There's a lot of information there, and it's right at the touch of your fingertips if you have that app. So again, I really encourage you to just click that, and it's just like having everything right there in your pocket ready to go. So this is the registration timeline. And in case anyone's confused on where you're at now, we're at the parent registration meeting at Elko High. After this, which I found Adobe may have did something different. After this, the Google form for registration was supposed to be released around 7 o'clock. My understanding is they did a Google, you have access to Google Classroom right now, which will have a Google form. And that's where students will submit their course requests. You have access to the course catalog. It is a work in progress, but everything in the catalog right now pertains to students, or freshman students. You'll have all the information you need. All of your course descriptions are there. I provided a supplemental, so it's going to lay out all of the potential elective courses for incoming freshmen. And then if you refer to the course catalog, it will tell you where to look specifically in the catalog. If you want to know what health sciences one, it's going to give you a great description of what that is, and also the pathway, what that can lead to. So again, so you'll have the Google form, which will come out, course catalog, the supplemental, and the video. Actually, yeah, this year, Ms. Madsen and Ms. Murphy were kind enough to create a wonderful tutorial PowerPoint presentation where they commentate all the ins and outs of what's important to freshmen, how to navigate registration, what you're kind of looking at, what's important. So it's good because the parents that maybe weren't here tonight also have access. That's again on our district website. Mrs. McKnight, I believe, put that up today. But the one important thing is because you guys have access to that Google form, and I know I see a lot of freshmen or incoming freshmen out there and you're probably excited to register, I would encourage that none of you do that yet until you've had a chance to come Monday for our 8th grade tour. We would really like you to come and see what Elko High is about, have a chance to talk to clubs, organizations, specific classes, maybe review the catalog, and if you have questions about the classes, we're going to have booths, people to answer information. So I'm just going to kind of ask that you hold off on your course requests until at least you've attended the tour. I think there's a lot of invaluable information. And then another thing with that, make sure the classes that you're putting, you're going to, it's something that you want. So again, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. Monday, March 17th, that's the campus tour. So that will start at 9:15, and that runs about 3 hours. So students will have 3 breakaways. They'll get to go see clubs and organizations, have tours of campus. They'll meet with the counselors where we're going to provide even more information pertaining to freshmen. And then Thursday, March 20th, the Google registration form closes. So that's the date that we want you to have all those courses entered, is by the 20th. If for some reason they don't have that or they have a hard time accessing it, have them refer to their Adobe counselors. They're happy to help them with it. It's a pretty simple process, but if for some reason they can meet with their Adobe counselors and they'll help them through that. This is just a picture of what that form looks like in case you guys aren't familiar with Google Forms. So the first page just kind of talks about who the counselors are. It'll walk you through it. Second page just talks about core classes. So all of your core classes, or all of the incoming freshmen's core classes, come from Adobe. Everyone's going to be entered in regular English, math, science, and physical education. That's the 4 core for freshmen. Any honors type classes, they're going to be recommendations from Adobe. So don't panic if for some reason you get on there and your core classes are entered incorrectly. Adobe will send that over, and then our English department reevaluates to see if you meet honors criteria. Sometimes they have writing samples. The math department is also going to look at testing scores and work on placing you appropriately in your math classes. So we go off the recommendation from Adobe, but sometimes we have to make adjustments based off our teams at Elko High, just to make sure students are placed appropriately. I'm going to turn the time over to Mrs. Williams. She has some important information also.
Okay, so sometimes I think this is the least fun, but I'll try to leave you with something positive after I'm going over these pieces. Loss of credit, we have a lot of attendance issues on this campus. When you have a campus that's 5 football fields long and it's spread wide up to the high-tech center, and our gym is across the street, it's really hard to kind of have a single point of entry and try to maintain. So we really rely on the parents to help enforce what our policies are and make sure that the kids are adhering what they need to do, which is they need to be in their seats. And I think that's really what's important. There's the first tag that's up there, the first little bullet points is loss of credit due to absence. This is something we've been talking about. It's in the books. It's on the state that we're able to use this. I didn't think that we'd get to the point where we started pulling driver's licenses, but we started doing that this year. So we're trying to catch people's attention and say, okay, we're done. We need some help. And this is only we know how to do it. We've tried doing truancies, which is unexcused absences, and being able to just write those up and giving them detention or in-school detention. But that hasn't seemed to get people's attention. So now we've resorted to the licenses. And that's been something that's relatively new for us on this campus, It is not relatively new to the state of Nevada. So I know that there are other schools that we started looking at and saying, what are you doing? And they've been pulling their licenses for the last couple years and seem to be fairly successful for doing that. And so what that means is your student will possibly lose the privilege of even obtaining a license for a 30-day suspension. And then if it just kind of keeps progressing, we're looking at anywhere from 60 days to a year. So we don't want to get to that point, and that would be on third truancy, which is the third time that they're getting written up. And it's easy to do because a truancy, according to the state, is one unexcused period. So parents have 72 hours to call their students in per the NRS to be able to excuse an absence. And please know, our district allows you to call in as many times as you want. However, the state says they're allowed 10 call-ins per year. Right? That does not include any school-related activities. So if your student is in sports or they're in HOSA or FBLA or FCCLA or anything like that, that does not count against that 10% that the state wants your kids to adhere to. So it's 10% or less for absences. Let me see here. Cell phone policies. The cell phone policy seems to change every year, but we keep getting stricter and stricter with it, and the kids tend to try to get around us. So first year went really well until we started seeing a bunch of burner phones that started appearing, and then now it's just a game that we play with the kids, and so it's pretty frustrating. So I know the district, I'm just going to give you a heads up. I know the school board is toying with ideas to do what some of the other districts are doing, which is right now our district policy says that cell phones are not supposed to be on this campus at all. That's the policy from the district. So our school, we said, okay, well, we don't want to do that. So what we want to do is go ahead and allow the kids to have the phones on the school campus, but we don't want them out in classes because teachers were getting to a point where they're like, I'm tired of competing with the cell phone. And so if it's either the cell phone or I'm going to leave. And so we had some seasoned teachers that were ready to walk out the door if we weren't willing to do something about it. So about 3 years ago, we started getting a little bit harsher with our cell phone policies. And it's worked better than what I remember the first year that I was here. It still has a long ways to go. So I think that's why the board is wanting to kind of put their thumb in it. And we'll see. Parents kind of help us. It would be really a positive. I know my kids, when they had cell phones, a couple times when they would call me in the middle of something or text me, I'd say, why do you have your cell phone out? You know, and we'll talk about this when you get home. So if that means I have to take your cell phone away from you, then that's what I have to do. But I wanted them to listen to the teachers and to participate in the classroom. So we really rely on you a lot to be able to help us with that. So we appreciate that very much. Let's see here. Looking to see if there's anything else on the absences. I think that's pretty much it on what I wanted to say with the tardies. And by the way, truancy just means unexcused absence. That's all it means. Tardy policies are revamped every year. So I've had parents say, well, that's not the way it was last year. I know the school has the discretionary rights to be able to change their tardy policy from year to year. And we do that because we found that didn't work the year before, so we try something different. Then that didn't work, then we try something different. So we constantly are trying to do something that we can stay one step ahead of the students. And so we're always trying to think of something interesting and innovative. So I want to finish with this last, hopefully positive piece for you. We started out with talking with Ms. Meisner at the college, and I know that it seems really weird to think that your 8th grader who's coming 9th grader, why am I talking about college? But someone who was a career and technical teacher, which was me, I remember some of my students coming in to me at the end of their 9th grade year, and they would say, the reason why I even took your class is because I found it was college level class. So you've got some curious kids out there that are very interested in getting into college classes, even if they don't understand really what they're doing. They know that where their path is kind of going. They need a little direction. So you heard words today like concurrent enrollment, dual credit, articulation agreements. Those are all ways that your students can get college credits. And they don't necessarily always have to stay with Great Basin College. And I know that that's always a concern, I think, for some kids. Well, what if I don't want to go to GBC? And I know Ms. Meisner's not going to say something against GBC, but I have seen the college credits transfer outside of here, particularly for the state of Nevada, but to other colleges outside the state also. So take advantage of these wonderful programs. We have 14 pathways on this campus. which is a lot of different pathways. I was just sitting there looking at it, and it's auto construction, mechanics, plant science, family consumer science, health science, accounting, hospitality and tourism, design drafting, so on and so forth. There's more and more. They're in the course catalog. Please take advantage of it. We've got some phenomenal teachers on this campus that do a really good job of getting your kids prepared to get into a possible career. And that's what we're looking at. Not everybody is made to go to a four-year college and to do college. So there's other pathways to be able to get into. If you have questions, Ms. Meisner is here. I'm here. The counselors are here. And by the way, I hardly ever say very much to my counselors as far as very publicly, but my counselors, I don't know. I think they're fantastic. We don't have Miss Bingham here, which is Miss Murphy, but Mike or Mr. Oliver, Miss Madsen, Miss Talbot, they're fantastic. They have to deal with 1,400 students, and even though they've got their own, they're very willing to step in with other students if they have to. If there's an emergency, if there's something that happens on our campus, they all pull together. So you've got 4 people trying to take care of a big chunk of people. And I just want you to know that you've got really good, strong counselors on this campus. So we're very fortunate to have them here. And then we just want you to know that we appreciate you as parents sitting here tonight and spending your time with us and having us help educate you a little bit on what our school is like. It's big, it's fun, there's lots to do. And I really, really want to reinforce what Ms. Talbot said was get your kids involved. That's how you keep them out of trouble, seriously. Okay, thank you very much. And is there anything else? That's it. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. If you have questions, let us know. Have a nice evening.